GM everyone, welcome to another quick market update analysis because nothing has changed in the last 24 hours. This update will be very short. 25% cash inside our portfolio and actively monitoring the market to deploy the remaining cash. Everything in the really short term depends upon oil and geopolitical conditions. The more oil goes higher, the more the risk assets will go lower, right? So you have to keep a very strict eye on oil and be very careful for the very short term. The futures market is open and the $100 our target got hit, but the CME market is still about to open, and if oil opens with a gap below the current price, this will result in the more drawdown for the risk assets. So you want oil to either range or go lower. This will send the risk assets more higher, right? If you compare Bitcoin with the other markets like stocks and Nasdaq, you can see it's showing absolute strength while these markets are drifting lower, which can give you an early indication of money flow inside crypto market, and the evidence you can see on chain as well. The Bitcoin stable coins rate of change is increasing slowly, gaining momentum. This can indicate the early signs that money is leaving stocks, gold, or the other risk assets and it's entering crypto, right? BTC SPX ratio, absolute strength, as we discussed in our one of our investing analysis, that if it holds above the range high, it's going to drift higher and this will send Bitcoin more higher, right? Everything on the short term depends upon oil, but our clear long term picture is very clear, mid term picture as well, the GLI fair value gap. And as I told you in one of my investing analysis, that the path toward the GLI won't be something like this, right? Because market makers always kicks out as much retails as possible. For that, they will make the path look like something like this, right? So it's very simple. As for the very short term, you can see we have some clusters of liquidations. The fresh liquidations formed above current price in the last 24 hours till 73K. In the same time, we have this 50-day moving average acting as a resistance at this key level. So we might see some upside movement in the very short term before the CME markets open to take the liquidations above these highs or print some more liquidations at these levels and then drop it down, trap more longs, and then range it here for a while and take out these denser liquidations, right? And then bust out of it in the very short term. So 70K is an absolute support zone for the bulls. If this support gets lost, the ultimate target would be straightly 68.5, and that's our key zone as well our limits for our trade inside our Discord. We'll be actively monitoring how it goes. Nothing changed on chain as well. Fundings on Velo data negative, same as it was yesterday. Weekly negative. This indicates retail's shorting and they're loving to short the markets, right? These were the liquidation clusters that we talked in a while. You can see Bitcoin, a retail investor, trading volume is decreasing rapidly, and this is the trajectory where I want it to be, negative 18%. At this specific zone, this would indicate the beginning of the trend, the beginning of the rally that we are discussing each and every day. So it still has room to go lower. At negative 18%, it would simply mean that the retails have enough panicked and they have sold what they bought, right? Similarly, Bitcoin futures funding rates on check on chain, funding rates negative, even the premium to shorts getting negative and denser day by day. Long liquidation dominance just shifted red. This can indicate the beginning of a rally, right? So nothing changed on chain as well. There is some risk in the very short term due to oil and geopolitical conditions, but we trade based on our systems. And if there is any risk in the market, our systems gonna detect it much sooner and will be actively shifting back into cash. So we there's nothing concerning unless you use proper systems to trade, right? If there is some risk, if Bitcoin is gonna go lower, our system is gonna detect it much sooner at these areas. Our system is gonna detect it, and we will shift out from our coins, our Bitcoin spot positions into cash, right? So for now, our systems are long and we are deployed in the market, expecting higher prices in the midterm and some fuckery around these areas in the very short term, right? So make sure to trade according to proper systems because once you trade through proper systems, After that point, you can't lose money in this market, right? So make sure to use proper risk management and systems for trading. That's enough for today. Thanks for watching.